I'm Debbie, 32. Standing at the podium of the Portland Arts Center, I'm accepting a Community Leadership Award. The audience's applause fills the air, and every face in this room is turned towards me with genuine appreciation, not pity. Ethan, my husband, sits in the front row, beaming with unrestrained pride. There are no empty seats to cause me pain tonight, no phantom family members I wish were here. For the first time in my life, I feel truly seen. But it wasn't always like this. Years ago, I was constantly overlooked and undervalued in my family. I grew up in a middle-class family in Portland. My parents, Robert and Linda, were overly focused on my older brother, Jake. Jake was the golden child, the one who could do no wrong in my parents' eyes. He was into finance and seemed to be on a fast track to success from a young age. I, on the other hand, was passionate about digital media arts. I remember when I was 8, I won an art contest at school. I was so proud, rushing home to show my parents. But they were too busy congratulating Jake on getting a high score on a math test. They barely glanced at my certificate and told me it was nice before going back to fawning over Jake. As I got older, I worked incredibly hard. I earned academic awards, got college scholarships, and eventually started my own digital media studio, Starlight Motion. After 5 years of building it from scratch and 2 years of negotiation, I sold Starlight Motion for $21 million. My wedding day was a turning point. I was at the Willamette Valley Vineyard, looking perfect in my wedding dress. But as I waited for the ceremony to start, I checked my phone over and over again. There were no messages from my parents or Jake. When the wedding planner, Lisa, came to ask if I was ready, I looked out at the ceremony space and saw 3 empty seats in the front row. It was like a punch in the gut. My parents had given me the same dismissive excuse on the phone a few days before. Jake had an important work event that weekend. I even offered to pay for their flights and hotel, but it was no use. But Ethan was there for me. When I walked down the aisle alone, his love radiated from him, and he whispered that he was there. At the reception, my college roommate, Amy, raised a toast to finding the family who deserves me. That's when I realized I had been chasing approval from my family for years, but they never intended to give it. 2 years after the wedding, as I was celebrating the acquisition of my studio with my team, I saw Jake's Instagram post about his twins' private school fundraiser. In the photos, my parents were beaming, surrounded by Jake, his wife, and their kids. It was clear that my parents had been using their retirement savings and family investments to support Jake's lavish lifestyle, while my $21 million success hadn't even earned me a text message. So I decided to buy a $135,000 Porsche. It was a statement, not because I needed my family's approval, but because I knew I didn't need their money. 3 days after I posted a photo of the car on Instagram, my mom called for the first time in 5 years, saying we needed a family meeting due to financial issues. When I arrived at my childhood home in the Porsche, my parents' expressions shifted from annoyance to shock. They led me to the dining room where Jake and his wife were already sitting. They wanted me to help Jake out of his financial trouble, as his mortgage was behind and the twins' school tuition was unpaid. I refused. I reminded them of all the important moments they had missed in my life: my high school graduation, my college scholarship ceremony, the launch of my company, and my wedding. I told them I'd made a different decision. I took out the announcement for the Thompson Media Scholarship Foundation, named after my high school media arts teacher, Mrs. Thompson, who had always believed in me. The foundation was set to invest $16 million in creating opportunities for young women in digital media arts. Jake was furious, calling it a waste of money. But I knew I was doing the right thing. I documented every manipulative message they said during the meeting, just in case. After that, my family tried everything to get me to change my mind. They called my business associates, sent the twins with handmade cards, and even had the family attorney contact me. But I stood my ground. The community rallied around me. The story of my family's neglect and my generosity became public. The foundation thrived, and the scholarship committee selected finalists. A year later, here I am, standing on this podium. My parents recently asked to meet at a coffee shop. My dad admitted they should have been there for me all those years. My mom asked how to fix things. But I told them some things can't be fixed, only accepted. I said I'd consider limited contact after they start therapy. As I drive home in my Porsche, I pass the coffee shop and see my parents on the sidewalk. Our eyes meet briefly, and I feel no pain. They taught me what love isn't, and Ethan, my friends, and my work have taught me what it is. I'm finally moving forward, towards a future filled with purpose and the support of the family I've chosen.